Dear students, this lecture deals with Introduction to Java Programming, which all are the different data types available in Java programming, how we can declare and define each of the type. So before going to the details of data types, let me introduce the syntax of Java program. Okay, so here this is an example of the syntax of a Java program. Here you can see one class with the name example, and you can see the main function which is defined inside the class example. So what is the meaning is that as in C++, you have the main function and all the executable code should be written inside the main function. Here also you have the same thing. We have the main function. You have to write all the executable codes inside the main function, and that main function is a member of a particular class, and that class changes to the main class, and you have to save this particular program with the name as example.java. Okay, so in Java program we are writing everything inside a particular class. And what is the meaning of this public static void is that public in the sense this main function can be executed from anywhere. Okay, static in the sense that we can call this main function without the help of object, and void in the sense that it is not returning any value, and this argument changes to string args. What is the meaning is that it is accepting only a single argument, and that is an array of elements of type string. Okay, we are writing the executable codes inside the main function that is of type string. Okay, that's the meaning. So this is the syntax of a Java program. Now we are going to deal with which all are the different data types available and how we can declare and define each one of the data type. Okay, so we can introduce one by one. First of all, we have the data type as integer, second one is float, third one is character, of course you know the fourth one is string, and the fifth type is the user defined data types or derived data types such as arrays, multidimensional arrays, then structures, classes, etc. So here in this Java program we are not using structure because we are already writing your program inside the class. Okay, now you can see the first line as import java.util.scanner. So what is the meaning is that in C++ you have the cout function for printing a command or printing anything into the console, and cin command for inputting something from the console. Okay, so whatever be the data type, we can use the cin as the prompt for taking the value from the console, but here it is not like that. Here you have the function nestInt for inputting an integer, nestFloat for inputting a floating type, and nestCharacter@0 for inputting a character type. So you know that these all are functions. So from where did these functions are coming from? These functions are inside in some other class. Here it is defined in the scanner class, which is defined inside the cloud. Okay, so for using these functions inside our program, you have to import the scanner class, which is defined in the cloud. The format of importing the scanner class is import java.util.scanner. The meaning is that scanner is a utility defined in the cloud, which is of type Java. Okay, then this is my main class because the main function is defined inside this particular class. And what is the meaning of this line is that in C++ also you are defining the object of a particular class with the syntax class name, object name. Here also the same thing. I need to access certain functions defined inside the scanner class. Which all are the functions? nestInt, nestFloat, etc. So for that I have to define an object corresponding to that particular class. What is the format of defining object in Java language is that you have to specify the class name. Which is the class name? Scanner is the class name. Then inp is the object name. You can give any name here. Then what is the meaning of new scanner system in is that I am defining a new object inp of type class scanner, which is going to access the IO functions inside the scanner class. Okay, so that is the meaning of this thing. So after the execution of this line, the program will generate an object inp of type scanner. Now I have declared the variable a as type int, then b as type float, and c as type character. So here declaration is there, it is not defined. How we can define? Either I can define, suppose I know the value of a is equal to 10, I can define here it as a as int a is equal to 10. But now I want to take the value of this a from the console. That means it is a user defined quantity. How it is possible is that you have to put a comment to the user that he or she should enter a value that is of type integer. How we can print this particular line or particular command in console is using the format system.out.println. So system.out means it is a out function of type system, and println means it is going to print the line in a new line. Print the particular command in a new line. So after the execution of this particular line, we are getting the command enter an integer in the console, and there you can enter the value. Suppose I am entering it as 20. Using this nesting function, that 20 will be assigned to the variable a. So after the execution of these lines, a will be assigned the value as 20. Okay. Now how we can enter the value of type float as using the function nest float. Then for character, I can use the function nest character 80. What is the meaning is that it is a single character which is occupying the space 0. Okay, so after the execution of this particular program, I am getting the result like a is assigned as 20, b is assigned as 2.36, and c is assigned as m. So these are the basic character types, and these are the functions used for assigning basic data type, defining basic data type. Another basic data type is a string type. Here, this is a format of declaring a string. You have to use the keyword string. Remember, S of the string word is in caps, should be in caps. Okay, so string str means I am declaring the variable str as type string, and I am giving the message to the user that he has to enter the string. So after executing this line, I am getting the message enter a string in the console. I can enter any line of text. It can hold space, special characters, alphanumeric characters, etc., and it will be assigned to the string str, and upon printing this str, I can see the message that I have entered. Okay, so this is how the string type is working. So remember, the letter S of the word string should be in caps. So that is the main thing. And next thing is, so now you are familiar with integer, floating point, character, and string. How we can define an array? So in CPP, how we can define an array? Simply specify the return type. That means a type of that particular variable. Let ARR be the array, integer array. Then you have to specify it int array. Then within this bracket, I have to specify a number. For example, if I am specifying int ARR 20, what is the meaning? It can hold a maximum of 20 characters. But there is no compulsory rule that I have to enter 20 characters. I can enter only 1 character, 2 characters, 3 characters. Like that, I can enter a maximum of 20 integer characters. Okay, so that is a format in C++. But in Java, everything is defined as classes, and everything you have to access using the object of the class. Okay, so now how we can declare or define an array is that here what is the definition is, first of all you have to specify the number of elements inside the array ARR. So suppose that you are not familiar with the number of elements, simply you have to declare it as an array, an integer array that can hold 50 values. Okay, if that is the case, you can write like int ARR new int 50. What is the meaning? ARR is an array that can hold a maximum of 50 characters. So here I have assigned like this. First of all I am entering the number of elements in the array. That number is stored in the variable len, and I am defining the array ARR as what? A type new data type of type integer, new data type of integer that can hold a maximum of how many characters? Maximum of a number that is stored in the variable len. Okay, now after defining this len, array know that it can store a maximum of this much numbers. For example, upon executing, I am getting the command as enter the number of elements in the array. I am entering the value as 5. Okay, so that 5 gets stored in the variable len, and upon executing this line, automatically that 5 will be assigned here, and ARR now contains what? How many memory locations? 5 memory locations starting from 0 to 4. Okay, then as in C++, I can use for loop for entering the value of that particular array element. So if it is a one-dimensional array, it is having only one bracket and it is having only one dimensional value, and I can store a maximum of that much number of values, and I can print the values. Okay, so upon executing this particular program, I have to enter the number of elements in the array, and I have to enter the elements in the array. It can print the elements that I have entered. Okay, so this is the way you have to declare an array. Int, the array name with square bracket should be empty, and that is equal to new data type of type integer that can hold this much number of values. Okay, now this is the case with two-dimensional array. So in one-dimensional array you have only one empty bracket because you have only one dimension. In two-dimensional array means what? You have two dimensions, so you need to have two empty brackets, and here you should have two values. Similarly, you have to specify the number of rows and number of columns, and here you have to specify like this. This ARR is a two-dimensional array. That is the meaning of this two empty brackets, two-dimensional array, that can hold this much rows and this much columns. So after entering the number of rows and number of columns, you can define the array and define the variables similar to the way that we are doing in C++. Okay, so this is the brief introduction about the data types and how we can declare and define data types. So using this knowledge, you can use any of the data types in your program, and you can write any of the programs.